So I always think that we shouldn't shame ourselves or have guilt about what we can or can't do. It's about finding something that is our gift to give. In reflecting on how the gospel has an option for those who are poor and on the margins, I always think that everybody has some kind of gift. A mom and dad might be, especially young parents starting out with a family, might really be caught up in caring for their family. They're going to be sacrificing a lot to raise their children, to keep their family safe, to give them good education and so forth. So the gift that they have at one point in their lives might be doing everything they can to care for their family. On the other hand, if parents are sensitive to the world around them, it's not that difficult to find ways to teach their children to be aware of a wider world. And we've all heard these stories where a young person, is alarmed at the poverty he or she sees in her city and then starts a blanket drive or something like that. It's amazing how young people develop sensitivities. Well, one of the ways they do that is their mom and dad teaches them. As we perhaps have some security in our own lives, we then find what is our gift to give to folks who are on the margins. As a priest, I'm very secure. I have a wonderful place to live in New Mexico. I have all my needs taken care of. So how do I add into that or make part of that a sensitivity, as Pope Francis is asking us to do, to have the smell of the sheep, to go to the peripheries, the outer limits, outer boundaries of our safety. For me, I do some things every week. I go to a Catholic worker house in my home city of Albuquerque, and one of the things that I find I need to do is to have someone else be in charge of me for a whole day. It sounds silly, maybe, or it sounds maybe even patronizing, I don't know. But the man who runs this particular outreach to the poor is a guy who, as soon as I get there, he starts telling me what to do. I'm not in charge. I'm not in control. And sometimes he can be even a little fussy. And, I'm used to father, being the pastor. The other thing about being in a place like that is to allow the folks who come to us as guests, come to get a meal, to allow them to dictate to me what it is they need and want, and to be at their disposal. And finally, the other thing that I've learned, and this comes back to the question of how can I do something when I've got other responsibilities. A typical thing like a soup kitchen functions because volunteers bring things, that volunteers prepare meals, people donate money, people will give some time. There are all kinds of gifts that can be of service to folks who are in need. And one of the things I've learned is, for years I've been on the other end where I was collecting the food or the clothing or the money, but now I'm seeing how it has an effect. So when a man walks up and says, "Hey, you got any spare jeans or shirts?" and I have to go in and look among the donated clothing to find something that will fit this gentleman that's dignified and so forth, I'm like thankful that somebody thought to give us the stuff we can give away, or that someone prepared a hot meal today, or somebody made 50 sandwiches, because now I'm at the contact point. So gifts can be given in a lot of ways, and those gifts are amazing when you then encounter another person who at that moment is in need, and you happen to be the delivery person for the generosity of someone else. So I always think that we shouldn't shame ourselves or have guilt about what we can or can't do. It's about finding something that is our gift to give.